Today, we are going over possibly some of the most insufferable people on the internet. You'd think Ethan is Online is the most insufferable the internet has to offer, but these people might just be significantly worse. Recently, TommyInnit got into some drama with Miskiff along with his friends such as Tubbo, JackManifold, and external individuals like XQC, and of course, Dream. This all stemmed from TommyInnit taking some shots at Miskiff on his podcast where he claims that Miskiff is one of the worst people Tommy has ever met. This caused a bit of a back and forth between Miskiff, TommyInnit, even having XQC take some shots at Tommy for being a cringy loser who would have gone nowhere without Dream, which, let's be real here, is absolutely true. Somewhere along the line of this drama, Dream got involved by posting this meme, which everyone on the internet got explosive about for the use of the word retard. Funnily enough, this is where the most insufferable, performative, dishonest display of character across multiple individuals really showed. Let's start right after the backlash, right on Dream's response to saying a slur. Dream made a Reddit post responding to the backlash, and he says, "Genuinely still confused on what the rules are," in quotation marks. Honestly, not trying to be obtuse, multiple people go viral for calling me the R word, and everyone explains that it's okay because they're neurodivergent. So then I see a meme that uses it and post it and get absolutely throttled for it. Obviously, it's the internet being disingenuous, but that doesn't completely invalidate anyone that might be upset by it. Most of the people calling me ableist for using it are the same people that lit off fireworks when Cantu was the slur-slinging slasher, including Tommy's closest friends. It's either okay or it's not okay. The double standards are infuriating. I have my own reasons for having a problem with Tommy going around being the internet police, and was expecting to get a lot of shit for going after poor Tommy that lies about me constantly. But obviously, I had no intentions at attacking every Dream SMP fan, or being ableist, LMAO. It was a dig at Tommy fans, because somehow, the worst of the ex-Dream SMP stans have congregated all to make up lies and shit on other creators, and Tommy feeds right into it to promote his Patreon, shows, book, or whatever else he's currently promoting, because he has absolutely no backbone. Either way, my lesson from this is that Twitter is somehow even less reasonable than I thought in the first place. Oh, and don't use the R word under any circumstance, even if you see a funny meme and you're autistic. Lesson learned. Hopefully I can be forgiven. Back to coding. Firstly, on the use of the word retard here, let's be realistic. People only get outraged because there is this incestuous circle jerk in these communities about being as squeaky clean and as uncompromised as possible, to be the best possible people they can be. And honestly, most people really just hate Dream because, one, he is kind of a dislikable individual, and two, because of false allegations levied against him. It's not just an issue with these communities, but there is an entire culture that takes pride in this type of behavior, coming after people that they consider problematic, but that's a discussion all of you have heard too many times. The thing is that a lot of these people, including those that are considered to be unproblematic icons or representations, are actually incredibly morally inconsistent or compromise themselves, and we'll get into that in a second. Let's talk about Dream's hypocrisy here for a moment. Dream attempts to make an argument about people reclaiming the word and thought he'd be fine in utilizing that language, blah 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 blah, and while there are instances in modern culture about certain slurs being repurposed and quote-unquote reclaimable, ultimately, because of Dream's own standards, that's just simply not something he can argue, seeing as he said he believes content creators are above saying this word, period, which would include himself as well. Ultimately, in my personal opinion, I don't think what Dream did matters at all. It's just a stupid meme taking shots at people he may have not realized overlapped in his own audience. People get outraged and he felt the pressure, because Dream, above all else, is an audience-captured coward who will bend the knee to his fans. Further on this conversation, though, after Dream released his response, people like Tubbo, JackManifold, etc. all showed just how inconsistent and two-faced they actually are. So let's talk about the Cantu situation in specific real quick. For those of you who don't remember, back when Dream was being falsely accused of being a groomer, a video of Nicholas calling Dream several slurs, even being a bit racist, people defended him and applauded him for allegedly assaulting Dream as well as saying those slurs. Cantu said a lot of intentionally derogatory things and even asked Dream if he was a Jew, and was just met by defense from the entire internet. This refresher was important so we can get into how other people responded to Dream recently, so we can measure just how inconsistent and hypocritical they are.
Still genuinely confused on what the rules are. Honestly, not trying to be obtuse. Most people go viral for calling me the R word, and everyone explains that it's okay because they're neurodivergent. Oh, he's talking about Cantu, right? I mean, sure, I forgot about that, yeah. There you go. I forgot he did. But I don't know if he used the same language, but still, he used slurs. I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't think you should do that. I don't know. I don't know what to say, you know? I mean, the one thing I like, the only clear difference there, though, again, I suppose, is that, like, you publicly, in front of millions, insulted a group of millions using a slur, and one guy called you a slur in the back of the car, and the only reason anyone knows it is because you leaked it. And I'm not saying that's good. He shouldn't call you a slur. That's in the wrong. But like I feel like the magnitude's off.
This guy is so unwilling to just remain logically consistent and say it's bad across the board. He says, I'm not sure if he used the same language. If you're even remotely aware of that situation, you know that Cantu was using far more abrasive language, making fun of all sorts of people. You're talking about making fun of millions in reference to a community that realistically maybe has tens of thousands of people actively engaging, in comparison to Cantu making Jewish jokes, making fun of the mentally disabled, calling other slurs at the expense of Dream, which in my unprofessional opinion is making fun of more people relative to one community.
So when somebody who is older than you,
I want to tell you right now, you are Australopithecus Cro-Magnon rock stupid. You're retarded. You're Down syndrome. I don't give a You do not understand that your literacy level needs to be brought up from the Mariana Trench. 1K is better for this dude who doesn't want to give away his millions. Are you Jewish? I am like this because ADHD, autism, neurodivergent.
I have ADHD as well.
Right, but because you said that's what the mask is, I think you're a faggot, alright? So that's why. You're really cool, Dream. I still want to fight you. And all of the shit that's happened tonight, it's not going to make it a fucking, like, brutal marauder. I'm not going to be a brutal marauder. I'm going to, like, literally, like, either you're going to be paralyzed or you're going to be dead. Like, I'm serious.
Keep in mind, the wider context of this conversation is that the driver in this Uber and Dream were attempting to keep him out of trouble since he dropped his phone from a moving car. Sure, maybe the extent of how many people it reached and how many people were outraged is larger, but at this point, you're ignoring that Cantu was being reckless and deplorable to, at the time, two completely undeserving individuals. Yet, look at how Jack just tries to brush it away to focus on why Dream is the problem here for making an indirect shitpost publicly.
I just feel like the magnitude's off. I think that's the same thing. Like, that was like a clearly intoxicated guy saying something he shouldn't have said and then that getting leaked. And this is you, like, consciously choosing to, like, publicize that in front of millions. Like, there's, like, a level of, like, extra responsibility you need to take around your life. You should never use that language, but, like, especially around millions of people that look up to you. You know, like, that is a magnitude worse. Right? So, like let's say, for example, like, he did, like, I don't know. I'm just, like, baffled. I don't know. Like,
You don't know? Okay, what's worse? Threatening to assault someone and then actually assaulting someone, or saying a slur in front of potentially millions of people. What's worse? What's worse? It's that simple.
Oh, no, like, sorry. Even if you think you can, like, reclaim... So what am I trying to say? Like, even if you think you can reclaim that slur, thinking that you can publicly call millions of people it is like a magnitude above, like, say, calling it one guy maybe. But even then, like, that would be wrong too. Like, this is all wrong. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And he didn't need to get involved. I just don't understand. He's been accused of so many bad things. So many terrible things. And the people that have accused him, he's never, like, lashed back in this sort of, like, he's responded, but he's never lashed out in this sort of angry and personal way. Like, he's just went for, like, a personal attack, you know? He's called him a bad thing. Like, he's never done that in the past. And he's been accused of awful shit. And the time he, but the second Donald Trump and XQC were insulted, he's like, I've got to step in, you know? Like, that's what I don't get. That's what I'm lost on.
I absolutely hate this disingenuous, two-faced, double-standard type of behavior. Not just that, but this insinuation he makes. You're saying that when Dream was being accused, and let me correct this for you, falsely accused of terrible things, he never personally lashed out this bad. Dream literally threatened to sue his accusers in possibly one of the most serious presentations Dream has ever made. He even mailed out a letter.
She's going to have to address all the lies. She's going to have to address all the inconsistencies. She's going to have to address her weird comments, her false promises, her character, and most importantly, be held accountable in her real life for what she's saying. This isn't online drama. This is real life stuff. There are real victims that have been manipulated, abused, and taken advantage of. Amanda, you are hurting actual victims. You are diminishing the very real trauma that victims of grooming and abuse have gone through. You are making it harder for real victims of abuse to come forward. You are not a victim. You are not doing a good thing. No matter how terrible you think I am, or that the ends justify the means, you are hurting victims. Just in case this video isn't enough for you to realize that, check your mailbox. And that's all I have to say about these allegations.
I don't think it gets more angry and personal than that. Also, to insinuate that Dream only got involved because of some political orientation because Trump was brought up, this This is such a small-minded attempt to make Dream a political enemy because of this side you align yourself with. You don't even have proof to suggest that Dream was doing this out of some political orientation.
Right-wing tilt time, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't believe with the audience that we had back in the day, he would be able to pull off a right-wing tilt. But disagreeing with Tommy there, which is what he's saying he is. He's like disagreeing with Tommy and backing up XQC is to say that you also think that the stream he did with Trump is cool. It's not direct, but it's in the subtext. To defend XQC there is to side with that. And having shared the same audience in 2021, I can tell you if he's still got that same audience, they're not gonna fuck with that. It's in the subtext of that. It just feels very he saw Sapnap get away with joining Kick, and he's like, oh, we can do anything. We can do anything right wing. I don't know.
This is actually so incredibly disgusting. You're making a direct implication that Dream is siding with a political orientation that you know is going to be lambasted by this audience overlap. You know this audience will eat Dream alive for this, when there's literally no evidence to suggest this alignment beyond this subtextual feeling you have. You can't even confirm this. It's so dishonest and scummy to do this instead of thinking of this critically. And I know throughout all of this, it sounds like I'm defending Dream, and honestly, it's because when people smear you this much and nobody speaks on how dishonest this all is, it raises concerns for how much integrity these people really have. And it's not just JackManifold that does this too.
Dream has the public perception that he's put all of the grooming allegations to a bed in a massive document, in a massive video, which is 40-minute video called The Truth. Okay, you can go watch it. When it came out, however, whether people choose to believe that video or not is crazy, because also I strongly believe Dream has enough money to genuinely make any problem he has go away.
This is an insane insinuation to make. Whether you choose to believe that video or not is crazy, because I strongly believe with enough money you can make anything go away, Tubbo says. The dishonesty with these people is absolutely disgusting. If you were actively looking into the Dream allegations around this time, or if you knew anything about the allegations at all, which I was when I was significantly smaller and more of a nobody, all of these allegations didn't really add up at all. Most of these things a normal-ass person like myself could look into and realize how much of everything was faked or how many inconsistencies there were. There was nothing there to begin with. And Dream took weeks, if not months, to respond. There was no way things just went away because he paid people off if there was nothing there in the first place. The crazy part here is that Tubbo would say this at all, considering there is no way these allegations were real in the first place. It shows that these guys are just hooked in demonizing Dream in the worst way possible. Sure, Dream may be annoying, but to imply that he may or may not be guilty because he has enough money is a type of behavior that surpasses just being annoying or dislikable. And the sad reality is that most of these people who watch this video or watch these individuals will never understand that because they're just enamored with these creators in such a parasocial way or believe strongly in team sports. People will say, oh, we don't like Dream because he's annoying and was shitty to his friends. That's why. So we're going to side with some of the most disingenuous and slimy people without realizing it. These people are arguably worse than Dream. They behave in dishonest ways that in the past have led to people being slandered and treated unfairly for things that are not true in their entirety. And to be clear, that's not me saying them in specific are responsible for situations such as these. It's to say that the behavior they are exhibiting here is similar to people in situations like I'm Alex lying about Slazo, or when people like White were slandered, all because they are unwilling to be fully consistent or critical with these situations. They manipulate the discussion at hand to make someone appear worse than what they are, such as making implications about political associations, and other people, the people underneath, will straight up lie about you and take clips out of context to present you as something that you're not. Personally, I don't care about Dream. I have no opinion on the guy, but when you see this many people just straight up being dishonest, inconsistent, having these double standards, it's actually quite infuriating. The behavior is very insufferable. The behavior is very reminiscent of people like Nick is not green or Ethan is online. The severity isn't the same, obviously, not at all, but there is something similar here. And these people have such a child-level mentality where they can't move forward past petty squabbles as a reason to hate a guy. Even in Tubbo's stream, where he got a bit more personal, he doesn't disclose any real reason beyond personal matters behind the scenes as to why he dislikes Dream. And when describing it, he just can't help but to call it weird, as if that means anything. These people can also just not move past this pseudo Trump-supporting assumption as a way to dislike someone, as if that's how rational adults function in the real world. It's all so petty and immature. Also, getting hung up over a fucking word, of all things, it genuinely doesn't matter. Since this video was made, TommyInnit has responded to Dream, which I also think is pretty bad, and I'll cover that tomorrow as to avoid making this video longer than it already is. I hate all of these people. That's all I got for today. Later.